So I don't know when we all collectively decided it was okay for Louis C.K. to be let back in, but I'm not here for it. Considering he has done zero to take real accountability since admitting to sexually harassing multiple women, why is he accepted back in just because time has passed? To my knowledge, Louis has done zero to make things right with his victims, nor has he done anything to try to platform women or promote causes that support women and prevent their exploitation since his crimes went public. So I ask everybody, why is he allowed back in popular media? He has shown he has done zero growth. He just talks about growth. Ain't no way you can say cancel culture exists when a man lacking in this level of awareness can exist and be allowed to promote his new comedy, while the women he assaulted have zero voice still and have never been platformed on any of these podcasts that brought Louis back on. It goes to show how little people care about violating women. And it also goes to show that men need to have no awakening and need to show no positive changes. They just need time to pass to be accepted back in with open arms. So long as they look sorry and appear to have humility, we ask nothing of them.
Biting everybody doesn't matter.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are your biggest influences, like as a director?
I love Woody.
Yeah.
Scorsese. Then like some weird people like Lena Wertmuller. She's an Italian director.
No.
Okay, so this one is about an Italian pimp.
Ooh.
And he's a real just ladies' man scumbag. And then it's World War II, and he turns out he's Jewish. So now he's in a concentration camp.
Whoa.
And he's dying in the concentration camp. He's like, I can't. He has no courage. He has no strength as a person.
Uh-huh.
And the concentration camp commandant of his barracks is a big fat German lady, and he's like, I gotta try to fuck her. Like, it's the only skill I have. So
what a premise!
Yes. So there she is. So he seduces her so that he can survive the Holocaust.
Whoa!
I mean, who else is making that movie?
Exactly.
That clip is priceless to me because of how little self-awareness Louis has. The movie he is talking about perfectly parallels his own life, his own victim's powerlessness, and how he was the monster of his own story. Yet he has no ability to see that because no one is making him. I realize I myself didn't even have a problem with this clip the first time I saw it. I thought how nice that Louis mentioned a female director as a favorite of his, but then you realize he mentioned the female director in the same sentence as known Predator director Woody Allen. That's how you know Louis doesn't really care about female directors and was just saying that to curry favor. Because what man could lift women up in the same sentence where he lifts up a known pedophile sicko who grooms women? Now, I've been Louis C.K.'s biggest fan from the early days. When people said Dave Chappelle was the best to ever do it, I said no, it was Louis. When the story broke that he had sexually harassed several female comedians, I defended him and made excuses. And when I saw him on Flagrant, I thought, wow, what a self-reflective and changed man. But then I woke up. Epstein files will do that to you. And now looking back, I can see every single seemingly genuine step Louis took since the controversy were all carefully crafted to improve public perception without doing any of the work. They were calculated, and to my knowledge, he's done nothing to make actual amends.
Oh.
They were calculated when he hid behind Joe List's unproblematic name for his directorial debut, and they were calculated when he chose to go on Flagrant so they could ask him questions about how good a guy he was because he works with small venues and was charging less for tickets. They were calculated when he chose to have a live orchestra perform a jazz opening instead of having an opener, because who can get mad at music? He made all these little calculations to gradually rebuild his reputation and rapport with his fans, without ever putting in the real work of being accountable to women, and specifically the women he hurt. And it just bothers me to see all the podcasts that are willing to have Louis on just so they can glaze him and let him talk about how amazing he is, while never acknowledging the harm he's caused. Take a look.
I think they're evil. They're fucking smart.
Yeah.
They cornered a market.
Yeah.
But I saw that there was a way to get, we founded eTix, this company that would do white label ticketing that looked like it was just our tickets.
Yeah.
And their Ticketmaster's fees were $12.50 a ticket, and eTix was $1.50.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's no difference between what the two companies do.
Yeah, yeah.
So I used eTix so I could bring the fans' tickets down. It was $50 anywhere you saw me in any seat.
Yeah.
And we hired guys to kind of stop scalping so that really fans were only paying $50.
That's great.
And the Garden said, we're not going to take you because we use Ticketmaster. And the Ticketmaster was run by a guy named Irvin something. And we would go. This is a long story. I don't know if it's that interesting, but it's a lot.
I think this is
go.
Well, we'd go to a city like Kansas City, and a Live Nation Ticketmaster has those rooms belong. They actually own those rooms.
Yeah.
They're doing what I want to do. I respect it. They're buying the whole room.
Yeah.
Fuck selling tickets. We own the room.
Yeah.
And
they own the venue is what you're trying to say.
Right. They own the venue.
Theaters. Yeah.
And so you pay them rent.
And
they're your
a
fans pay
processing
the
fee.
ticket. All that stuff is going to them.
Double dip.
And then you get whatever's left, and your fans pay too much, and you get too little.
Yeah.
So we would go to a room that doesn't have a Live Nation, like a rundown shithole room, and would say, "We'll do a show with you." And sometimes they'd agree, and then the next day, Ticketmaster would make a deal with them and rub us out because they saw what we were doing, and they went around.
I thought there was a garden thing where you
no.
found
So what happened was that I couldn't play the garden, so like I did the city center here, which was the only room that was not controlled.
Yeah.
It's about 2,800 seats, I think, and I did it for 2 weeks every night, like 2 shows. I did something like 30 shows there, and it was a lot of money, a lot of work.
Yeah.
But so then the next year, Irvin, what's his name, left Ticketmaster and went to MSG. And he kind of wanted to stick it to his old boss. So he gave me a deal. He wanted me in the garden. So he put, I didn't even know if it's legal for me to say all this, but he made a deal with me that the garden would pay Ticketmaster half their fee and I would pay half. So he paid $6 and I paid $6. So I paid my fans' fee so that they could come to the garden to see me for $50. To me, this was fun and interesting, and I would have made less money than I would have.
Yeah.
But that's enough.
Yeah.
To me, I have a cap to how much I want to earn.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
What is it?
Past that cap, it gets fun. What fun can I have? How can I earn money differently than other people?
I wanted to start the show by bringing on your first opening act, who is a great jazz musician, Ravi Coltrane, and he has a trio that he's bringing up there.
Oh, no, listen.
Great fucking music. And it's not like walk in and get your drinks music. I want you to really listen to him, give him a lot of respect.
To Lewis's credit, all these minor calculations worked, and while I won't partake in his comedy these days, I'm sure it's still very good and I can appreciate that. The only problem is that he seems to see himself as the victim still. That's not growth in my eyes, and so I am inclined to believe he hasn't grown, and instead just wants to appear as though he's grown. Take to me seeing Lewis do this interview on Theo Von's podcast where he's supposed to be this changed, humbled man, and I have to be honest, I think it's all fake. Take a look.
The movie, I did that. So, and maybe it's good for those people in some way. I don't know, but and I don't like the way it affects people in my life and my family. That's hard. That's what I still carry, and I can't. But I'm responsible for it. That's the thing. And what it helps me, my past and the way it's still present in the air around me helps me because my life was completely unmanageable, and I had no power to change it. And now I've changed it hugely. My life is so different now. I have real love in my life, and but I need to remember like where I was, and I also need to remember what is important, So I'm, and I'm writing. I'm writing novels because I don't jerk off every 15 minutes. It's really all it is. And I don't look at the phone because for a long time the phone was a gun pointing directly at my face. So I completely extricated myself from social media and from scrolling. I haven't scrolled it's a guilty pleasure about once every month I'll go and look. But the chronic looking it would have killed me to keep looking at it. So I'm so lucky what happened to me because of what I was ejected out of. And also the culture, since this happened with me in 2017, the world has gone completely insane. And I've just been watching. Like, I haven't had to comment about it. I haven't had to pick a side.
Yeah.
I've just been sitting back going like, wow, you guys are, like I'm on the bottom of the sea, but I look up and I see, like there's still a full-on fucking battleship Royale up there. And once in a while I see a body, like a blue body float down, and I'm like, hey, man, I remember you. Yeah. And he's like, hey. And
First of all, fuck you, Theo Von, for being a pussy-ass bitch who platforms bad actors nonstop, all while still somehow tricking people into thinking you have a heart. Fuck you for being too dumb or too evil to do anything about the very problems you complain about. You have the power, Theo, and you choose to look the other way and do nothing when it counts. In any case, Theo, of course, did his best glazing job as he always does these days, glossing over Lewis's very real crimes using vague and careful language that sickens me. And then Lewis, if you actually unpack the things he's saying here, he can seem remarkably self-aware one moment, admitting he is guilty, but the next minute be baffled why people won't accept him back fully. Take a look.
Everybody, maybe people have some perversion stuff, but a lot of it's just like kind of pornography, intimacy disorders, like inability to connect. It's not like...
Well, it's huge. When you do the steps, you learn how you got to where you are, and you learn what in your history made you this way.
Yeah.
And you get some guidelines for trying to undo it. And the thing about going through withdrawal is that by not pressing the reset button, you go to a new place every day.
Yeah.
Every day you don't do it, you're in a new place, you feel new feelings. And I started realizing that my feelings, my actual emotions were coming online for the first time really in my life. And I saw everything really differently. And I saw that everything that had happened with me was because of me. And by the way, that's great news because that means you could do something about it.
Right.
And that everyone else is doing what they have to do. And so I had to start like being a man about it. And I can't like prove that to the world. And I can't like do, a big gesture. I can just do it in my private life. I can talk to you about it. People can see this, whatever. I have mixed feelings about it. It scares the shit out of me to talk about it.
Yeah.
And that had its own thing. Like I kept thinking, I have to fix this. I have to fix this reputation. I have to go back to where people have at least a neutral feeling about me. And I realized I just can't. And also for some people, the kind of people I probably would want to know, it's happened naturally.
Right. And dude, I was shocked whenever we would hang out that you thought so many people thought that you were like such a pariah or something. I was like, dude, Louis, like, people care, but they don't care that way.
I'm the last one who gives a shit.
Right, and not even in a bad way, but like,
I know what you mean.
wouldn't even seem like that bad of a guy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I don't know. For some people, I am.
No, that's a good point. Sorry,
but those, no, it's okay. Those for some people, I'm there's
you're a boogeyman,
and that's the way that is. And it's like if I did a movie for Marvel, and now I'm on a McDonald's cup, you can still get, and I can't really change that. I made the movie. I did that. So. And maybe it's good for those people in some way. I don't know. But
Louis still frames his cancellation as if with something being done to him rather than something happening as a result of his own choices. He's speaking like his cancellation was out of his control and almost trivial. And by claiming he can't change people's perception of him, he never has to try to. Because he has every ability and all the time in the world to take the steps to truly do right by the people he's hurt, if he wanted to. It's a cop-out from a coward and not what accountability looks like. He wants better perception without doing the arduous labor of rebuilding his reputation through good towards women. Because otherwise, why not take steps since your cancellation to show that you're truly sorry by propping up female comedians or supporting female-led projects? Why not donate to or start a charity that protects females in comedy from workplace sexual harassment? Why not do the actual work if you're truly a changed man? Well, because he must not be. Something you'll notice if you pay close attention is that while it seems like Louis is saying deep stuff, it is all very me-focused and self-involved. So while I can totally understand if you find yourself listening to him and feeling like you believe everything he says, just know that that's just because he's an intelligent man who has mastered the act of appearing humbled. But it's all a facade. He repeatedly brings things up in relation to how they have cost him, and he talks a lot about the things he's lost and had taken away from him. Yet never does he acknowledge what he may have taken away from his victims, or what they may have lost. It's as if he never saw them as people. He's very self-centered and concerned with trivial things, not with acknowledging how his behavior affected others. No, he just complains about how helpless he is to change people's minds, like we should see him as the victim. He is the villain, and his own actions caused people to change their perception of him, and he rightfully lost out. Instead of reckoning with his demons and supporting women, he shrugs it off as out of his control and waxes lyrical about how sad it is that he can never change people's minds again. Like it's other people's fault they don't respect you anymore and want nothing to do with you, even though your actions caused all of it. I wonder why Louis even considers trying to change people's opinions and why that's even on his mind if he's not evil. Because if he'd really done the work like he said he has, Why is he not focused more on the harm he's caused and making things right then? Why so focused on changing people's minds about who you are? You said the stories were true, so you sexually harassed several females, and shouldn't men who do that be hated? Where has he done the work to accept that his behavior to most people is unforgivable, as it should be? What he did was demented. It was not a minor perversion. It involved so much coercive control, manipulation, and power. And it aroused him, knowing he was frightening these women and that they didn't like it. That doesn't merit coming back from, if we're being honest, and especially not when the perpetrator still sees their crimes as merely reckless behaviors. He speaks as if his behavior was accidental and not completely within his control and due to his own choices. Like, what are we doing here? Louis, you preyed on women and have done nothing since to make it right with any of them privately. And instead, you've carefully rebuilt your reputation by hiding behind other people, good press, and your perceived humility and humanity. And that's not good enough for me anymore. Aren't you in some sort of BS pretend sex addict recovery group? Where the heck is the make amends portion? Isn't that a step? No, you're just a pussy-ass bitch crying about all the ways you've suffered and all the ways you've been wronged because of course you're the victim, even though your actions caused all of this. Shame on you, Louis C.K. And I have to say, double shame on Theo Von Here for minimizing the horrific crimes of Louis and putting him on a pedestal, as if we should disregard the understandable hatred most people have towards him still, as if we should forget about his victims. It's not as though he admitted fully to doing these things. He is guilty, and everyone rightfully agreed he should be shunned from comedy as a result. When did you forget about that, Theo? Oh wait, you've had 700 guests total on your podcast, and only 30 of them were female. Never mind. It all makes sense now. Now, as far as Louis goes, if you want people to see you differently, then be different. Don't hide behind some sex addict program that tells you it's not your fault and it was because of your upbringing. Be a man, be accountable, and accept that you are not. Only once you understand that, can you begin to try and heal some of the harm you've caused women, and I sincerely hope you get there. Do you think I'm being too harsh on Louis C.K., or do you agree that he seems to frame himself as the victim and his behavior lacks true accountability? Let me know, and thank you so much for watching.